Good morning, students. Today I am going to solve question number 5 of page 137 in your book. The chapter number is 5 and the name of the chapter is a revision tool to MySQL. Now read the question. It says consider the table player with data given below. So this is the table specified by the name player, and these are the data corresponding to the columns PID, FName, LName, game, gender, DOP and age. Now based on this particular table identified by the name player, I shall solve the following questions. Now before solving these questions, I shall start the MySQL Workbench. So here it is. This is the startup screen of MySQL Workbench. Now I shall bring the mouse cursor over here. So click on local instance of MySQL. On clicking that, you can see a new dialog window like this, okay, with the username as root and the password. I shall type it out here. Now the password that I have set for the user root was SQL123, so I am going to type that password here and then click on this OK button. Now on doing that, I shall see the second window getting displayed. Now this window lists the SQL Workspace, okay. This white portion is the SQL Workspace where you are going to type all the SQL statements. Now the table, okay, identified by the name player is contained inside a database, and I have contained this table called player inside the database, which is referred to by the name second database. So before working with this table called player, I have to set that database as the current database. Now let me set the database as the current database. Now I shall start with the use command, and then I shall specify the database name, which in this case will be second database. Now this command use second database lists the database identified by the name second database, okay, or sets the database identified by the name second database as the current database. Now after typing this command, click on this flash-like symbol. This will set this database as your current database, and this is indicated here by the tick mark, which sets this database as the current database. Now that I have already set that database as the current database, so I can work with this table called player, which is contained within the database called second database. Now let's start with the first question. It says write a query to display the records of all the students. Now for displaying the records of all the students from the table player, I shall write the query as select star from player, where player will be the table name, and then let me click this flash symbol to show the output. So in the output you can see the table, okay, listing all the records starting from the record with PID 100, then 101, 102, and at the end the record with PID value 105. Now star is going to list the entries of the column PID, okay, then it's going to list the entries of the column FName, the entries of the column LName, and likewise at the end it's going to list the entries of the column age. Now as a result, combining those entries is going to list the first record, followed by the second record, third record, and at the end the last record. So the records are getting listed here like this. So the query says select star from player, and it lists the records of all the students from the table player as shown in this output window. Now let's come to the second question. It says write a query to display the records of students who play cricket. That means I am going to display those records of students who play the game cricket. Now out of these records, this is the record, okay, who plays the game cricket. Okay, this is the record, okay, of the student who plays the game cricket, and the student name is Astik. Again, this is the record, okay, of the student who plays cricket, and the student name is Mohan. So I can find only two records, okay, where the student plays cricket. First one is this, okay, for the student Astik Dasgupta, and the second one is this for the student Mohan Ghosh. So these two records shall be displayed in the output table, but for that I have to manipulate this select query. I have to give the where clause and set the game to cricket. So the query shall be select star from player where game equal to cricket. Now this query shall list the records of those students who shall play the game cricket. Now let me execute this query. Now this lists the records of those students who play the game cricket. Now there are only two students, Astik Dasgupta and Mohan Ghosh, who plays the game cricket, and these two records I have extracted out from this table, out of all these records. Okay, now just have a look at the output table, which is based on this query. Okay, now let's come to the third question. It says write a query to display the records of students who were born after the year 2000 and before the year 2006. Now if the student were to born after the year 2000, then the start date shall be 1st January 2001, and if the student were to born before the year 2006, then the end date shall be 31st December 2005. So I have to use the between clause, okay, to set the date range, okay, which shall be between 1st January 2001 and 31st December 2005. Now note that the between clause, okay, shall include both the dates in the range, that is 1st January 2001 as well as 31st December 2005, and as well as all the dates between those two extreme dates. So I have to just manipulate the where clause as where DOB. Okay, now DOB here lists the dates of all the students, because DOB represents the date of birth of the students. Now in the where clause I shall write where DOB between 1st January 2001. Now note that the starting date, which is 1st January 2001, shall be written like this. The year should be written first, followed by the month and then the day, and then write the end clause and now put the end date. Now end date, since it should be 31st December 2005, so write the year 2005 first, then the month December, which is having the value 12, and then the day 31st. Put it within quotation. Okay, so here is the query. It says select star from player where the date of birth should be between 1st January 2001 and 31st December 2005. Okay, this is the query for the question, which is asking us to list the records of students who were born after the year 2000 and before the year 2006. So I have used the between clause to set the date range between this and this. Now let me execute the query. Okay, this lists only two records. Okay, first record is for the student Astik Dasgupta and second for the student Mohan Ghosh. Now see the date of birth for the student Astik Dasgupta. It's 12 December 2003. Obviously 12 December 2003 lies between the date range 1st January 2001 and 31st December 2005. So the record of this student gets included. And see the next record. The student Mohan Ghosh is having the date of birth 24 June 2001, and obviously 24 June 2001 falls between 1st January 2001 and 31st December 2005. So even the record of this particular student Mohan Ghosh gets included in the output table. As a result, on executing this query, only two records get displayed in the output table. Those are for Astik Dasgupta and Mohan Ghosh. Now let's come to the next question. This question is asking us to write a query to display F name and L name of students in lowercase. That means I'm going to show the entries of the column F name, okay, that is all these entries, and the entries of the column L name, that is all these entries in lowercase. That means each of these entries should be represented in small letters, and for that I have to write the query as, since I will be displaying only the columns F name and L name, I am going to write F name comma L name, okay, and since these entries should be displayed in small letters, I am going to put the lower function, okay, for the column F name as well as the lower function for the column L name. Now on selecting lower of F name and lower of L name from the table player, you can see the entries of the columns lower of F name and lower of L name in small letters, okay, and here is the output. Now let's solve the last question. It says write a question to display F name, game and age of all the students. Now you're asked to display only the entries of these three columns, that is F name, game and age, okay, so just mention F name, game and age here. Write F name as the first column, game as the second column and age as the third column, okay, and then click this button indicated by the flash symbol. This lists the entries of the column F name, game and age as shown in the output table, okay. So I have solved all these questions. Now note that when you are asked to display only the particular column, that is in this question it is asking us to display the columns F name and L name in lowercase, so I will be selecting these two columns only. Again in this question I was asked to display only the three columns, that is F name, game and age, so I will be selecting these three columns only. But see the first question, it is asking us to write a query to display the records of all the students. They haven't specified the column names. Now if they haven't specified the column names, you have to assume that you have to select all the columns starting from PID, F name, L name till age. Now it's tedious to write all the column names separated by comma, like PID comma F name comma L name comma dot 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 comma age. So better there is a shortcut way to display the records of all students, that is you should use the select query and type star, okay, and the query becomes select star from player because the table in this case is player, okay. So remember that star will extract all the column names, okay, and if you do not use star, you can indicate the respective column names, okay, by typing it in the Mysql workspace to display the entries for those particular columns only. So I hope you understood, and with that I end my presentation here.